AO, log 20.0. Time is 1:31 a.m., Saturday, 1:31 a.m., March 6, 2021, GMT. So what to say about this week? I mean, I knew even last week what I was going to talk about this week. I just didn't know how it would go, what there would be to say. And that is, the CSM hire, the hire we made, I made, started this week on Monday. Like I said before, I'll say again, and I guess I can stop saying it, is this is my first hire, right? First hire I've been responsible for making the final decision on. And it's a big deal, this hire, regardless of that aside, that personal factoid aside, I mean, this hire is huge. And if we get it wrong, oh my God, that's like half our customer base being mishandled potentially. So what to say? Well, first of all, I mean, poor girl got like virtually no formal onboarding. And such is the nature of a startup, right? I mean, we have no formal onboarding process. But at the same time, come Monday, I hadn't even really put together much, if anything, to get her going. It was a simple like Word doc that I had done for the UK CSM a year and 3 months ago or so, which was like query the company, right? So it was all these questions asked all these different people. It was like an opportunity to go around and get to know everyone in the company, right? And I, drafted this up from when I was in the Bay Area for her out here when she started out here. I thought it was clever enough, a little bit of a scavenger hunt and excuse to speak with each and everyone in the company. So did the same thing. Actually, I had totally forgotten about having done that until my CSM reminded me, oh, we'll just do what you did for me. And I was like, what? Oh yeah. Do you even have that document? Where is that document? I'm sure I could fucking find it. I looked like long and hard enough, but like, could you just share that with me and we'll repurpose it for her, So had that, I guess, going. And then on that document too was all the things, all the systems you need to be sure to have like access to. But it wasn't even necessarily like a checklist of like who to go to get access to. It's just, this is the ones you need access to. And like, we'll get you access to them. There's more so actually a list for me than for her to even action on this list to remind me what I need to make sure you have access to. That was good. And me and I should give it a nickname, S. Let's call it S and T, right? S is the CSM in the UK. It's been here like a little over a year. So S says, and then we've adapted it a little bit with like more casual questions, right? Like who's your things like who's your favorite English Premier League team? Like ask this person who their team is, sort of thing, or ask this person what their mom's restaurant's called, or something like things like this. Sally, no name drops, but helped with those like casual questions, right? And so that was a little bit different than what I had done for her, that we did for T. So there's that. But then come Monday, I have a one-on-one with her, like a kickoff, day one kickoff, TG day one kickoff with her at like, it was originally scheduled 9 a.m. her time, but then I was so impacted, I actually pushed it an hour to 10 a.m. her time, like just 2 hours before, right? So I was even pushing off her kickoff at like the last minute, so impacted early in that day. But really what I should have, so I really should have planned more over the weekend as far as like an actual formal document like that I now do have, thanks to another buddy of mine who just recently started as a CSM somewhere else. And they put together this like onboarding document for him to go through. And he just randomly reached out to me this week with, CSM type questions, which, oh my God, is great, right? To have a buddy to have a buddy that's now in the industry. I have had no real buddies in the industry. I had one other one who got out of it recently. He's now like a solutions engineer or an implementation manager, which is close enough. It's not too far off. He was trying to get a little further from being a CSM than that, to be quite honest. He's trying to be a developer, but landed as like a IM at customer, which was like weeks before he got hired, picked up by Facebook, which is where he's always said he wanted to work, right? So, but anywho, now that he's technically out of the CSM industry, there was, he was the only buddy I had to even talk shop with, to be, yeah. But now I have another good buddy to talk shop with, and we're actually talking shop. It's cool, man. And he has like ideas and stuff that like very relevant. Like he's asking me, oh, do you guys like do like a customer newsletter, like announcing on product enhancements or product developments or new features, functionality? I was like, no, we do not. We absolutely should. That'd be great. Like it's definitely something I'd love to do. I just don't have the bandwidth for it. We don't even have we don't even have a marketing department. We're such a small company that everybody virtually represents their own department, but we don't even have a single person in a marketing role, right? And with maybe this new CSM hire, maybe I can get freed up to do things like that, but not until maybe soon, hopefully, right? Definitely not the last like year and a half, definitely not even before that. Yeah, either. I feel like I've been working my ass off the whole time I've been here. At least now it's getting more effective, like in the sense that things are actually working. Before I was working my ass off and things weren't still working. The product was just letting me down left and right, dude. I was biting the bullet and sinking with the ship, oh my God, like a captain. But now the product's really like helping. But there's still a lot like to implement, and actually it's more involved now than it ever was as far as like the implementations, but at least now when done right, it works. So anyways, so that said, with we had this one-on-one sync, and I was quite frank about me not really having much for her, but saying here's like a doc to go through, set up calls, one-on-ones with everyone in the company. But I realized, only now do I realize, Friday, that I never even like shared email addresses of anyone. I was like, just reach out to them. As I guess I was thinking you just find them on Slack. I gave names, and the name, you search your name, Slack, done, right? I definitely got her access to Slack. That was key first step. Her email first, then Slack, and then Jira. And then funnily enough, like Salesforce is on the list of systems to enable our access with, but we as CSMs do not use Salesforce at all. Not a lick. Used to in the last like year and a half. No, not at all. Since I've been VP, nope. I have my own like big customer dashboard, like Excel, like Google Sheet with tab after tab after tab, basically everything I would want in Salesforce in there, just kept up in there with access to all. That was the other bitch thing about Salesforce, is not everyone had access to it. Whereas with this Google Sheet, even though it's amateurish, anyone can access it within the company. Whereas with Salesforce, it's in Salesforce, but so-and-so doesn't have access to Salesforce. Whatever. But what I don't have, and this is one thing I raised with her even day one, is really good place where we keep notes, or rather any place where we keep notes, call notes, anything. So I have something like this. I guess I could share. I'll share an example without last time I tried to share something on this, the screen just went blank. So I was like talking for a long time on like a black screen. So I'll just do this really quick. I have something simple like this that I keep up with customers, right? Something like this, and just keep tab of that. And these are, I guess, the equivalent of notes, but they're more like tasks. And really that's all I really need. I don't need full-blown call notes. I just need, like what the tasks are and status. And what's really key here is not just for me, myself, to have to reference, but for the customer themselves to see. This is a shared doc, so they can see even some things that are made out for them to do instead of us. So it's worked very effectively. KLM is like the longest doc example of this, and they love it. They love this, and it's so unsophisticated. And this is a huge like enterprise company, but this works for them, works for me, works for everyone involved. And funnily enough, when it comes to being a CSM, like even I'll stop sharing. Even when I was at like a public company as a CSM, we were still doing this sort of shit. Everything was out of fucking Google Sheets, man. I guess I've never really worked at a company that had like a proper customer success platform. But here we had one. We used client success at one point when I first started. And that shit was so basic. It was just like red, yellow, green, and you put in the customer names, of course. Maybe had a place for stakeholders, roles at the company, customer, client, how much the spend was, sure. But didn't even do like currency conversion. It's so lame, it's like, even something like that, like, come on, you gotta at least convert the currency for me. Otherwise, like, things like that. So basic. And yeah, I had a place for call notes, sure, but who really needs call notes? I just need to know what like action items are. And I guess that's what call notes are supposed to be. But honestly, this Excel works just as good in that sense than housing it in a platform that I couldn't even share with the customers. This it can. So I've yet, and then we used, then we were implementing Strike Tech, which I was actually quite keen on. I thought it was really cool, integrated with a lot. The idea was for it to be the central dashboard for everything from Jira tickets, because you can integrate with Jira and pull those tickets into like a tile. It was almost like Microsoft, what was that, Metro layout, right? You have a tile with a Jira tickets, tile with Zendesk tickets, tile with like customer for like Salesforce info, like customer name and ARR and whatever else, renewal date, and then a tile for like notes, tile for like other thing. I thought it was quite cool. And to be honest with you guys, not that this had anything to do with what I thought was cool about it, but because I mentioned it, this whole Windows Metro format, right? Fucking bullshit for laptops, right? Such crap. And I remember my dad bought my mom a new computer with this Metro layout, right? Poor woman, dude. She has struggles enough with just like the standard kind of computer. But for her to try and figure out this goddamn fucking Metro format was laughable and also cruel. Like, and he got frustrated with her. I mean, he couldn't figure it out either. So fuck him, dude. That was just unfair, dude. And the poor lady like struggles enough with like computers, but like when you think about it, like the computer she's using at work, they're still on like Windows 95, maybe 98. I don't know, but they're still on like ancient already, So it's like for her to go from that to what? Metro? Windows Metro? What the fuck was that? Stupid. I know what it was. The idea was to have a unified layout that will work across mobile, tablets, computers. Sure, got it. But no, don't like it. That said, for the Windows Phone, which I had and swear by, and to this day is still one of my all-time favorite fucking phones, the Nokia Windows Phone I had on Windows was 8. Was it Windows 10? I forget, but was awesome. I thought that Microsoft phone was great, and I only got it because we got picked up by Microsoft at this one company I worked at, and I think I got some kind of credit or something. If I went and got a Windows phone, I forget exactly, or maybe I just got it because I was no, I got some kind of credit. That's right. When I got it, a lot of people turned their nose up at it because so many people are such iPhone fucking snobs, right? I thought it was awesome. I thought it was amazing. I was so hooked. But there again, here I used very few apps. The only apps I used, it had Twitter, eventually Instagram. Not it eventually had Instagram. I think I eventually started using Instagram. Wasn't using Instagram when I first got. That's how far back it was, or how late I was to the Instagram game, I guess. But it had Twitter, had Instagram, what had Reddit. What more do I need? You know, or did I need? Not much. Had maps, a good map. Nokia Maps was awesome. And built like a brick, bro, like in a good way, like a rock, right? Like, hey, when Chevy has that motto, like a fucking rock, like a rock, I never really understood. I don't want a car that's like a rock, bro, that doesn't move, you know, like it's like a rock, you know. I never got that, but I also get it like a rock, like built tough or whatever, you know, hard, like durable, or I don't know, just like solid, right? Sure, but I never really understood like a rock car that's like a rock, like a Rolling Stone, maybe, I don't know. But anywho, so I remember dropping this Nokia phone. I mean, everyone knows Nokia, right? I'm not, but this is not the old Nokias that were plastic and like unbreakable kind. This is like a glass, right? Gorilla Glass, both sides, double-sided glass phone. I literally dropped it from way up here, boom, above my head, dropped it from above my head down. I was putting it up for whatever reason. I was drinking. I put it up on a wall that was like higher than me. Felt no problem. No problem. What the fuck? Oh, it was just a great phone. And quick and snappy, and the tiles made sense. And that said, none of this wasted space, right? It was tile. I could shrink tile, big tile. It was great. So, but what was I even talking about? Oh, yeah. So, customer success platform. Like I don't know, I'm not convinced that there is a like good one out there. Now, granted, I haven't used the Tango, haven't used Gainsight. It was at least incredibly expensive. Something even when I was working at the public company and we were like looking at using a customer success platform, Gainsight was considered even too expensive. um, but and we evaluated here. We were originally on client success, and none of the CSMs liked it. We all agreed it was just whack. Not whack in the sense that it was like, you know, like wonky or, you know, buggy or didn't work. Not like that. You know, it was simple. It worked. It just didn't do much for any of us, right? Both on a functional level as well as a spiritual level, as well as as well as a, you know, who cared? Why? It's just a, what? I don't know. It's like useless tool we were paying for. You know? So then we evaluated hella different customer success platforms, and it was all just very much like Salesforce light, right? I mean, I need something more project management oriented, right? It's a proper customer success manager, not a glorified fucking account manager or renewals manager. You know, like I need something like Strike Deck was good in this sense that it had, you know, I can integrate with like Jira, have Zendesk tickets in there, have emails synced in there, have you know, all the renewals information, all commercial information. Also, it was a way to like automate emails and stuff, and automate follow-ups and like trigger alerts, and you know, it was trigger alerts off of all the different you know, integration points. Trigger alert off of like if the Zendesk tickets, or the Zendesk ticket has been you know, open for too long, or like a Jira ticket has you know, is not moved out of some stage, right, for too long. You set and decide, you know, when to alert, sort of thing. And then also, of course, there's the piece of integrating with the actual product metrics, right? Product performance metrics analytics. That piece was the critical missing piece, because we had no analytics for the longest time, and this is key kind of focus point for us the last few weeks. We're actually looking at licensing like good data potentially to white label them as you know, for our analytics, internal analytics on our platform, so that we're not so reliant on having to create reporting in Salesforce or in Zendesk or in Freshdesk or in Gorgias, all these different systems we integrate with, without our own, you know, analytics on our platform. Forces us, the CSMs, to create all the reporting time and time again in all these different systems. And creating reporting in Salesforce is a bitch. A lot of the time, we don't even have access to our Salesforce customer systems to create the reporting, so we have to kind of walk them through it, which is you know, time consuming and a pain. Then there's Zendesk, which was a pain at first for me. They just white labeled good data. And it took me, forever to learn how to do it. It was frustrating. It was embarrassing. I mean, there was like easily first 6 months there, I was presenting the most basic lame ass reports to my customers every week. Where it's just like column, this column, and this, it's just like, what are you, this is just so rudimentary, right? I couldn't overlay like three metrics in a single graph. The best I could do was 2 columns side by side, week by week. Oh, came a long way from that, learned it, now really proficient with it. As far as what I need to know how to do, I know how to do, right? And can do it really quick. But lo and behold, Zendesk sunsetting good data. They sunset on, I touched on this, like February 5th, but some customers were allowed to get an extension if they asked for it. So some customers are extended till June something. So some customers still have that good data, thank God. Otherwise, all of our Zendesk customers would have to be building out report in this new reporting tool called Explore. That's Zendesk now, their own in-house reporting tool. Across all our Zendesk customers all at once. All of them would have been without analytics all of a sudden, right? Now, at least now, I'd say about half got extensions and half did not. And the half that did not, we're kind of scrambling to build out Explore reporting for them still. It's what, March 5th, and they sunsetted it February 5th. But what threw me off was I personally requested the extension because I have access to their systems, right? So I personally requested the extension for a bunch of my customers, and I'm not sure if I definitely didn't do it for all, right? So that much I know. Definitely do it for all. But what was tricky about it is when you requested an extension, the response was, all right, we'll let you know February 28th whether we granted you an extension or not. No, not February 28th. We'll let you know January 31st whether we've granted you an extension or not. So that was weird. Rather than just saying, okay, extension granted, it's like, okay, we'll let you know if your extension has been approved on January 31st. I was like, what the fuck? So it may not get approved. So I could find out January 31st, or let's say February 1st, that it's not approved. And then all of a sudden, all my reporting is disappearing in 4 to 5 days. What the fuck? So that was a weird thing to begin with. Then second of all, February 5th comes, and I still have access to insights reporting for like one of our couple of our biggest customers. So I'm like, oh, okay, I must have requested an extension for these guys, right? Because the days come and gone, the extension must have got approved. Oh, that was the other thing. I never got any email confirmation from Zendesk that the extensions had been approved, right? So when February 5th came around, I was on this February 5th. After I got off and did one of these, I went and exported the reports from every single one of our Zendesk customers. So at least I'd have like an export up to February 5th. Then I come in Monday or whatever, and everyone's still there. And I was like, okay, maybe I requested extensions for more than I thought I did, right? And then all of a sudden, just randomly, I want to say like February, let's say 14th or 15th, right? All of a sudden, like mid-February, like 2 weeks ago, maybe not even 2 weeks ago, like maybe like a week and a half ago, very random day, not the end of the month, nothing like that. Maybe like a week and a half ago, like half of the insights just disappeared. The good data reporting just disappeared. I was like, okay, then I guess I didn't request extensions for those, or maybe the extensions didn't get approved, or I don't know, but whatever, which way, like all of a sudden half our customers don't have any fucking report. I have to learn how to build this reporting really quick. Fortunately, in anticipation of this task S, right, with Learning Explorer reporting and building out documentation and teaching me, and I must say she struggled so hard with it, and I felt her pain because I was there before with good data myself, like 2 years ago, at this point, 3, 4 years ago. I totally empathized, but at the same time, was happy that she was experiencing I totally empathize. I don't wish this pain on anybody, but I'm just so glad that I don't have to go through that pain again. God damn, dude. Oh, god damn, dude. So now that you're going through the pain, like I'm just glad I don't have to go through the pain again, and like we can both respect each other a little more for the pain we can both empathize the other having gone through, right? Uh, and I will say I'm very proud of her. She did a great job at learning it. It took her a long time, but it also took me a long time, took me longer, quite honest, quite frankly. But she taught me, and so I really just went off the documents she built around and just kind of did some copy and pasting. There was some things that were missing, right? But we figured that out together, right? Now the documentation is very crappy. It's like I can't even, where's that one metric? I'll scroll, blah, blah, blah. So that needs to be cleaned up. But at least it's what we need is in there. If you can find, how long it takes to find where it's in there is one other thing, but at least it's in there. And that's what's key, is that it's in there, because now one of the first tasks for this new CSM is to go in, see if, given what's in there, can you, knowing nothing about reporting, build a report? If so, great. And that's a success metric of that whole documentation, right? One level is, can I, right, build off of it? And because that's what I really need to be able to do, I need to build off of this. Second is, can somebody who has no knowledge whatsoever build off of this documentation we create around building these Explore reports? And her task now, like at least next week, is to clean that up, polish it up, make it very customer facing, validate that she can in fact build reports without no knowledge of reporting based off the documentation. If she runs into any gaps, fill in those gaps, or reach out to S to help you fill in those gaps, right? Don't reach out to me. I've got so much else shit to do, right? Like reach out to S, right? And fill in those gaps and polish it up. And then what we want to be able to do is, hand this over to customers so they can create their own reporting. That said, we will be creating the reporting for them, sure, but we want this on hand so that we can just hand it over to them to do themselves. If they're, if for instance, right, because some of them have been like now a week and a half, a week and a half without any reporting. So if fortunately none of them have been raised a stink about it. Mostly because they don't know how to build a reporting themselves either, right? And just in general, never mind reporting for us, just reporting in general, no. So they haven't raised a stink about it. But if somebody did raise a stink and say, hey, I need reporting now, like you guys got to give me reporting, I could say, okay, here you go, here's the documentation, do it yourself. Or you can wait until I get around to it, right? But don't hassle me. So that's the idea behind the documentation. Also, on top of this, because this Explore reporting is new for everyone, including our customers, by doing this documentation and providing this for our customers, we'll actually be training them on how to build reporting, just in general, for themselves, for anything they may want to report on. I mean, obviously, the documentation is geared towards reporting on key metrics associated with our product's performance. But that said, I mean, they can cross apply what we document in there to any other kind of reports they may want to make. And that's a huge value add. That's the, I was telling T, the new CSM, that we actually have the trademark on human plus AI, but we don't ever use it. We don't use it anymore. But I actually like it, human plus AI, and the fact trademark, okay, such a thing this company would have done back in the day is go and pay for a trademark on something like human plus AI. But that said, unless I don't know how long trademarks last, or unless it's expired or lapsed, I don't know how it goes with trademarks, but unless it's like expired in some way, we still have it, right? And this is that human element, us, the CSMs. And I've always thought of it that way, and that's why I'm kind of partial to it, is, there's the AI, which is the product, and there's a human element, which is me. Even though that's not really, it was more about like human plus AI is like the meld of, agents and assisting agents, right? Because when we first started, it was really about like agent assist tool we had. And now it's more about like automation. It's more about AI, APIs, the flow builder, process builder, right? So integrating with other systems to retrieve data and, push actions to other systems, take action other systems, as well as retrieve data from other systems to factor into like the logic of what to do what and what to do. That's a key piece, the API piece. Then the other key, the integration piece, and the other key piece obviously is the AI. Everything we do proceeds, most of everything we do proceeds from our ability to recognize the intent of the questions customers are asking. Our customers are asking, right? What are they asking about? How to return? Where's my order? Uh, or receive the damaged item. That's not asking, but that's them complaining. I mean, it's customer service, right? So much of what we do proceeds from our ability to understand what the end user is asking. And then the key piece is obviously the integration piece, to be able to get information. Like if somebody says, where is my order, right? Being able to find out where their order is, right? Has it been shipped? Is it in transit? Such and so on and so forth. Or if somebody wants to cancel an order, right? Being able to cancel the order before it's too late, because there's often a very tight window in which an order can even be canceled. Some customers just flat out say no, which has been proven problematic with this one customer in particular that was our first pilot and is about to be the renewal date hits on Sunday, but we have the renewal review on Monday. That said, they did reschedule from today. It was supposed to be today, but even though it was scheduled for today, it was obviously going to lapse past the renewal date, but give them leeway. As long as it gets in before the end of the quarter, it's cool. But it may not come in at all. That's what I'm saying. So first pilot may not renew, and that would hurt bad, right? So, and part of the problem there is that they're an example of a customer that they were our first, right? So we've gotten a lot more sophisticated since then. In some ways, they kind of got like left behind, in the dust a little bit. They're also not very innovative themselves, right? And I'll give an example of how. And they have like a lot of different managers. They're like, we work with 3 different people. 1, 2, 3, 4 different people. This is the 4th person. He just started like 4 weeks ago. And they're complaining about their CSAT scores, because CSAT scores aren't good. And they're admittedly not that great, right? But part of the problem is because they have us set up to be just like a fucking troll. So if somebody says they want to cancel their order, we say, no, sorry, can't cancel an order. And people are like, well, I just placed it. And that's most oftentimes people want to request to cancel an order because they place the order. Then they realize after they place, oh shit, I ordered 2 of those, or I ordered the wrong one of those, or like it's pretty quick oftentimes where people want to cancel very shortly after they place the order, or they get the order confirmation email and then they realize, oh shit, that's not what I meant to order, or I want something else. I don't know. So that's very frustrating for customers because it's really just treating us as a troll. Thou shalt not pass, right? Can I cancel my order? I just placed it. Nope, sorry. What? No shit, our CSAT's going to be shit, bro. If somebody wants to change their shipping address, right? Oh, I see that it's being shipped to the wrong address. Can I change the shipping address? Nope, sorry. This is what we're automated to respond. What the fuck, right? So literally both these scenarios, right? So first scenario, I just placed the order, telling me I can't cancel it. So I've got to wait until it arrives. Then I've got to go through a whole bullshit returns process. And then I've got to wait for it to get returned, for me to get issued a refund before the money gets back in my account. And that's like all told could be like 2-3 weeks. 2 weeks, let's say. Still though. And the hassle of having to go return something, especially in this COVID era of leaving, or any era of having to go to the post office or FedEx or anywhere to like return something that I didn't want. Yeah, what the fuck? Then, or another situation, if I can't change the shipping address, I just placed it. I just realized it's going to the wrong shipping address. Tell me I can't change the shipping address. So it's literally going to go somewhere else, someone else maybe, or somewhere else that I can't get to, right? And I'm not going to get it. I'm still going to pay for it. I'm not going to get it. Now, granted, the response says, don't worry, it'll return to sender. And once we receive the return, once it returns back to us, then we'll issue you a refund. But there again, like, what the fuck? So I'm not going to get it. I'm going to have to wait probably maybe a week or 2 weeks for it to go full circle to get returned back to them so I can get my refund back. And in the meantime, I'm not getting what I ordered. And this is like a cosmetics company, right? So this is like women ordering like, a foundation and things like this, right? So they're just going to be without it for 2 weeks, or they've got to reorder and with the correct shipping address. And now they've paid double. And yeah, granted, eventually, I guess this will get refunded, assuming it gets returned to sender, assuming that it doesn't get delivered to someone else who just accepts it, and doesn't get returned to sender. So then they have to follow up and say, look, I never got it. I know it didn't get returned to you, but like I still need that refund because that, wasn't me that it got delivered to. I mean, when you treat our AI like that, that's bullshit. I mean, that's just making us bite the bullet on a bad process to begin with. Um, and then we have other customers that use us to actually cancel the order, right? So if somebody says I want to cancel the order, what we do is we immediately put the order on hold if still possible, right? If it's still in processing. If it's shipped, it's shipped. Sorry, can't cancel, it's shipped, right? But if it's hasn't been shipped yet, immediately put the order on hold. Then we ask them to confirm if they do in fact want to cancel the order. If so, say yes, confirmed. If no, if you're actually asking about something else, I forget, we say no, right? Or so if they say anything other than confirmed, right? If they say anything other than confirmed, then it just goes to an agent, right? And then the agent can take the order off hold, right? And then if they say yes, confirmed, then we take the order away from hold and actually outright cancel the order, and then respond with the second automation, which is your order is now canceled. And it ends up being one of our highest CSAT use cases because people are so grateful that the order got canceled that they didn't have to pay for it. It was their mistake and they changed their mind, whatever it may be, but they're just happy that they were able to cancel it, right? Or like change shipping address, right? Somebody says, it's going to the wrong address, right? Can I change the shipping address? We say we automate a response. There has to be this like two-factor with like cancel order and change shipping address. We can't just outright cancel it because maybe we misunderstood the question, right? Maybe the AI got it wrong. But like with change shipping address, for instance, we say, understand you want to change a shipping address. Can you confirm like what you want the shipping address to be? And we give them like a, general, like a format, like, format the address like this. And even if they don't format like that, we can still make sense of it. It's not a big deal, right? Then they do, and then we say, okay, confirming that we are changing the shipping address to this, and they say confirmed, and then we say, okay, we've changed the shipping address, right? And if they provide the shipping address up front, we detect that, right? So we see that you want to change the shipping address to this shipping address, confirm this is the shipping address you want to change it to, confirmed, and then we take the action in their custom system, by the way, to update the shipping address so it gets sent to the right place. And there again, one of our highest CSAT use cases, because people are just so happy that we fixed fix it for them, resolved their issue, not played fucking troll and told them their issue cannot be resolved. So anyways, that renewal conversation was supposed to happen today. It'll happen Monday, and I'll report back on how that goes. I really lost my cool with them actually on Wednesday, which is one of the worst times to lose the cool with the customers, right? When they're approaching a renewal. I was like, fuck, your CSAT, do you not understand? Like, what don't you get? And then like processes, the maps, flow design, we have these business rules, right? And their business rules are, at the time, right? They were our first like pilot, first customer. I didn't know, I knew it was basic, but now, like a year later, I just realized like that needs work, right? And I guess that's my job to like, drive that work to, make it better. But they were always being like stalwart or like a wall about, no, we can't change, or we can't cancel orders. We can't change it. I'm like, guys, I'm trying to explain to you how we do it for other customers. We can do it for you. I'm sure of it. It's just, and if we can't do it, then stop bitching about our CSAT. Do you not understand that you're just setting us up to fail on the CSAT side of things? So anywho, that said, so where was I going with that? Today we had a pilot review with a big customer in the UK. Oh, well. The project team, I really like that project team actually, except for the economic buyer is such a bitch, bro. Just the way he talks and what he says. The way he talks and what he says. Fuck him. But we'll see. I think it'll be fine. I mean, it was a successful pilot. It's just a matter of now the sales guy structuring the contract in a way that's favorable to this guy who I can't stand the way he talks or what he says. Stupid. Project team's great though. Project team is great. Anyways, what I was really wanting to talk about today was the hire, right? So Monday I felt horrible, felt like shit. Feel like shit just about every Monday, but I felt especially bad this Monday because I realized I just totally dropped the ball on day one of my first ever hire. Day two, try to pick it up. Didn't really do much different, but at least day two, I had actually calls she could join because that was the problem too. She started Monday and I don't have like any evening calls anymore on Mondays. I used to, but I got away from that. Fuck, I hated Monday evening calls. I hate Monday just in general, but the fact that Monday evening on top of that, but because I had no calls for her to join Monday, it was literally just, hey, hello. Sorry you don't have your computer yet. It didn't get delivered. And it didn't even arrive until today for her. So she went a whole week with her personal computer, which sucks when you're like logging into all these new systems. She's got to basically go re-log in to everything and bookmark and whatnot, via new computer that just came through today, right? Instead of that's what she could have been doing Monday, right? So it's really, duplicate process there for her, but at least she's accessed everything from her personal computer too. So if anything were to happen to her work computer, she's got, her personal computer with everything already logged in, right? Or had been logged in. But anyway, I'm just making, not that that's like whatever, but yeah, poor girl didn't have a computer and no plan. Like I said, it was first call. I was like, okay, just reach out, to people and start scheduling one-on-ones and ask them these questions and let's make sure you have access to these systems. And then that was it. And she basically started her day and then had nothing to do because nobody was going to take calls with her that day of because it's already like end of day UK time. So she could begin to reach out on Monday and get things teed up for like Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever. But as far as actual things to do on Monday, outside of like maybe reaching out to people to schedule calls later in the week, she had squat shit like to do. It was just a free day basically, right? And no computer, right? She got the adapter I sent her, she got the keyboard, the mouse, but not the critical computer. And it was like delayed. It was like in processing for fucking ever, bro. I even called Apple. Like I was like, what is happening? Called them, made an international call just to figure out what's happening with this because I want her to have it sooner than later. It's already bad enough she doesn't get it day one, but whatever. The worst thing of them all, though, is the health benefits still aren't figured out for her. So, she should be, we got to set up with Gusto. Got to set up with Gusto, which is what I use in the past, and that's for payroll and benefits, but we're still struggling with Gusto to get the benefits set up for her. And that's not right? We dropped the ball there a little bit, but if we can get it figured out by the end of next week, all's well, sort of thing. But that cannot drag on because that's a key thing, man. I mean, it's amateurish not to say you offer benefits. And she even asked about benefits. I said, yes, we do, 100% sort of thing. And right now, 0%. So, but then at least Tuesday, she was able to join some calls and stuff with me, but I was not good on the calls. I don't know if it was, what is it? Like when somebody watches you, you don't do as well sort of thing. Like spectator influence. I don't know if there's even a phrase for it, but I was not good on the calls, or not by my estimation, right? And it wasn't even like I was being especially like hypersensitive about it. I just think generally I was kind of awkward on the calls. I don't know if it was because she was on them. To be quite frank, I think it was more so just awkward week for me. I was kind of out of sorts at the beginning. I think the fact I didn't do a good job of onboarding my hire. Day one was the part of, kind of killing my mojo too there. Especially when I was even talking about how big a deal this is, and then they didn't do shit for her before she started. So yeah, I wasn't feeling myself, that's for sure. But the week ended well. Yes, the week ended really well. Yeah, and even with her, I was on call with her for like an hour and 15 minutes from 8 p.m. my time, like just before 8 my time to like 9 p.m. No, from not just before 9 to 10 p.m. I was on a call with her to wrap up the day. And it was good, an hour, 15 minutes going over kind of what I now have in place, which is the onboarding plan. So, that's me for you sort of thing is wasn't on time, but it's here now. Thanks to my buddy for sharing out of nowhere. In fact, he reached out to talk shop and then said he had this onboarding plan, said send it my way. And if it weren't for him sending me that, I don't know what I would have done, you know. And he did, and I just repurposed it for her. And now it's a quite nice little doc, right? I don't know that I need to share it with you guys, but part of what she's got to do now is next week is this explore documentation. Also, I need to get this SE spec out so that we can look to our US SE to partner with her. Once that spec goes out, posted like LinkedIn, she'll be tasked with kind of sifting through the resumes and setting up first rounds and deciding if it's somebody she thinks she could, partner with well. And if so, then proceed them on to like a second round for second and third round, maybe second round with me and the CEO, or maybe second round me and then a third round with the CEO, and like we did with the CSMs. Maybe third round is with the panel, right? The first person you spoke with, second person me, and then the CEO, and then the CEO's trusted advisor, right? And do a technical validation too. So we did an interview at SC this week per recommendation from the other SC, the only other SC we have. He knows this girl and he recommended her and spoke with her, and she seems sweet. And if she's got the technical know-how, and that's not for me to validate or even know how to validate, to be quite frank, right? If she does have that, then I think she'd be a great addition. And we do need, and what we pay for like two SEs in Europe, both based out of like, one's based out of Ukraine. This one, if we do hire her, will be based out of like Moldova. But those two, the cost of one cheap junior SE in America. I'm not gonna say how much they get paid, but it is, those two equal one bottom level, entry level technical hire in the US. Less than anything you could, those two still equal less than the most entry of entry levels in the Bay Area. Most entry of entry levels in the Bay Area is still going to get paid more than these two. I'm talking like entry level based out of like Atlanta is equal to these two. And the Ukraine guy is great. And if he recommends her and she's nearly as good as him, oh my God, because her English is better. So if she's nearly as good as him, and her English is better, oh my God, we got a crack team on the cheap. So yeah, like the A's, baby. Moneyball, motherfucker. But yeah, and then I was quite awkward this week, and it was kind of ill-fitting suit for me to finally be boss, right? Like be a boss. Be a boss. I've never been a boss. I've never been boss. But yeah, quite frankly, like point blank, like when it was just me and S, right? I don't really feel like a boss. It's me and her on the lead, sure, right? I know my title is VP or whatnot, but in all honesty, it's just, we're duo. But now to have like our first, CSM team call, and it's on me to kind of set the agenda for the team and interact. It's a little different when, Trisha T do this, S do this, S work with T on this, blah, blah, blah. And I don't like being bossy. I think I am kind of bossy, I guess. But I won't be bossy. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's an initially ill-fitting suit, right? For me. Just gotta break it in. you know. Um, but ended well, all's well that ends well, sort of thing. And with that said, that was all shop talk A to Z. I had one note here on my thing to talk about today, and that is life of service. And I'm not even gonna get to it. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, yeah, life of service. We can pick that up another week. So me myself sorry to talk about next week. Not shop related, please, right? Because my life is like work. My life is like work. And I need to be able, like, it's okay for my life to be like work, 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 work. But if at the end of a long week of work, I'm sitting here talking about work, right? Wow, I really have no life, right? And more than even like not no life, but like I'm so one dimensional. I've never been this one dimensional in my life, man. I've always like had thoughts and like had thoughts. Of course, I've always had thoughts. Not always. I haven't always had thoughts. Right? Plenty of times thoughtless. Yeah, brain dead, dude. But like thinking about life, right? Thinking about life, thinking about like abstract things, being deep, right? Talking deep, thinking deep. And like, no, man, the last like you can see from the 20 of these I've done, dude, there's like very little like abstract thinking happening, which used to be my forte. It's all what happened this week, shop talk type stuff, occasional like life events that have occurred. And in some ways, it's kind of how I decided to do this instead of like initially. Remember, I like try to pick a topic, then talk about that topic, um, or at least like start with that topic and see where it digresses to. Um, but then I got away from it. I was like, look, I'm just going to recap my week because at the end of the day, this is for me really. And it's for me to kind of retrace the steps of like my life in retrospect down the line. Right. But I don't think it's okay that, that after a lot, like a week of life revolves solely around work and I have a chance to talk about like my life, all I'm really talking about is work, recapping my week of work, you know? It's not okay to be this one dimensional is what I'm saying. So I do need to talk about other things. And then the things that sometimes I do otherwise talk about is things like things, which is just so, wow, Bora, like since when? Like talking about things and like, talk about work and things like who have you become, the things you've bought and the, work talk, like what, since when? And like such like a sellout, right? Like, okay, by the way, this is working again. Got this working again. So it didn't let me down after all. Or did, I think. I don't know. Maybe I just did something or wasn't doing it right. I don't really understand, but it's back, baby. Just like the pencil came back, right? And I even, funnily enough, it was one of those things where I wrote to them and said, hey, look, it won't turn on. I plugged it in overnight, still didn't turn on, nothing, I wrote to them, and then right after I sent off the message, I went and plugged it back in, right? And it turned on, right? So after this, and I was testing this before the call, before this log. And if after I save this and sounds good, I have to go apologize. I have to apologize regardless because it looks to be working, but it's the real test. I mean, it is working if I like just record to it, but I want to make sure that it's that this is reliable. I can just plug it in, do one of these, and not find out after closing this out that it was you couldn't hear a word I said like that, like log 8. So with that said, I'll leave it at that. There's another thing I could talk about, but okay. So also I tasked her with oh yes, okay. So new hire, right? I was saying like the management of notes, right? I think I started initially talking about a customer success platform. I don't think there's a good one out there. Again, I'm returning to shop. This is industry speak. This is not shop talk. This is industry speak now. So um come at me with your CS topics, please. Like my buddy did today, and actually he benefited me more than I benefited him for sure, dude. Like, you know, like he's coming to me for like advice on like best practice to being a CSM. And I gained more out of that call. I didn't even initiate, right? Than for sure than he got from me, right? And you know, not only did I benefit from, but like my CSM I just hired benefited from him. He did more for my CSM indirectly, not more, but he did as much maybe for my CSM as I did this week, in a way. So thank you, man. You know who you are if you're listening to this. But one of the things I tasked her with too is like evaluating like project planning tools, because I'm more interested in something that's like project management oriented than something that's like client success was, which is just store customer data in here and put it green, yellow, red. So stupid. Put your notes in, log notes in here and stuff. But I'm realizing in like this transition thing is as I transition accounts to her, like there's no central place for me to see like the latest on like any given customer. I have no visibility into the latest on my on S's, you know, customers either. Outside of what like she tells me, and like we track the numbers, automation numbers, so that's a good kind of signal to look to, and all that. But like, yeah, there's no real central repo, right? For you know, customer documentation, right? And tracking. But what I will say is I said this to her. I was like, let's look at like this one company, which is what popped in my head. And I said, there's this other story to tell. This company called Reich, which just recently got picked up by Citrix. And I know the CEO, and I know this girl that I went to high school who works there, who's actually married now to another good friend of mine who I went to high school with as well, as a CSM, no less. She's been there for like 3 years, like strategic CSM. But how do I know the CEO? I know the CEO because I was almost their first sales hire. Like really almost. I'm not gonna tell that story now. I'm gonna tell that story another time. But that's an interesting one. Like I was like this close. They said they wanted to make an offer, right? I think they even did make an offer pending this thing. The offer was pending this thing, and then they rescinded it. It wasn't like a criminal background check. At that point, my record was okay. But like, I'm gonna tell this story sometime, not today, but because and we're definitely gonna come back to this topic of like this project management tool. And what I was saying to her is like, let's look into Rec and action, and then she recommended like Monday, right? She said, I didn't use Monday personally, but I had a customer that used Monday and shared it with us. And it's like, okay, yeah, let's look at that one too. And she was looking at Reich. She's like, yeah, this looks really good. And what I always liked about Reich too was it had like Gantt charts and things like this, as well as ways to like share, you know, documents with customers from within Reich as well, and so on and so forth. Like a proper like proper project management tool. I don't know if Monday is to the same degree, but what I do know is that Asana fucking sucks. Asana can suck my dick. Asana is a perfect example, I think, of an overhyped Silicon Valley company that just has the sex appeal and maybe the aesthetic, but as far as the functionality, as far as like the meat and potatoes, bro, weak as fuck. And people that buy into Asana, like maybe I'm missing something, you know, but I almost like respect you a little less if you guys went with a sauna, right? Like, because I've tried a sauna. We had a sauna. We tried a sauna here, not like as a company outright. Maybe if the whole company was on it, maybe there's like a network effect that we're missing. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like Yammer, or any kind of social network. Um, but I was like, what? This is whack. This is, and that was though, granted, that was like 3 years ago that I tried it. Maybe it's come a long way since then. But having said that, when I said that to her, I didn't say it in such strong terms, but I said, like Asana, I'm not such a fan of it. She's like, no, absolutely, I agree. I said, Asana, I'm not such a fan of. I really just feel like it's a one of those hype Bay Area tech companies, and I really just don't get it. She's like, no, absolutely, I agree. Like I felt the same way. And granted, people can always say, oh, I agree, right? But it felt genuine. And she's like, yeah, I agree. I was like, okay, wow, that was cool that we just something random we just picked out that we both saw eye to eye on, that a lot of people probably would disagree about with us about, which is that sauna fucking sucks. Like it's all fucking lame, bro. And then she's like, yeah, and I had a customer but I did have a customer that used, Monday, and I was like, okay, here we go, new tasks too on the part of the onboarding program is the first your first 30 days, just let's see if you can get us a free trial to Rike and Monday and whatever else you think looks good that's out there. Um, and yeah, I think that's maybe the one tool I really need, because as a VP of customer success, there's no tools that we use that are unique to us. And ideally, if we went with like Rike or like, I don't know too much about Monday aside from the ads I've seen everywhere, it would be not just for the CSM team, led by the CSM team, but open to the entire company. None of this like, oh, something on Salesforce that people can't access because they don't have access to Salesforce. The idea here is it would be the whole company, but led by the CSM team. The one other thing I did lead actually was the Toggle, right? The time tracking, which has been huge. And now the whole company uses too, and really did buy into. Nobody really balked at it as, oh, I don't want, it's too micromanagey, because we're not treating it like that. It's just good to see where time is going so that we can resource plan accordingly. But that was definitely led by me. Actually, not me initially. Initially, it was my CSM counterpart, this lady this older lady I worked with in San Francisco. It was her and I, her first, then I joined like 5 months later or something. She was like there 5 months before me. And it was just her and I for a good while. And we brought in this other CSM that like was horrible and scarred me, actually. Scared me. I killed my confidence on like I can work with anyone. I never thought I could work with anyone, but like I didn't know how bad it could be, actually. I didn't know, like, because I like passed her through, right? I obviously didn't make the final decision, but I agreed of the batch that we interviewed, she was the best. And I didn't say, no, let's keep looking. So it falls on me, even though I wasn't the one that formally, made the final decision. But it was on me, obviously. It was a mistake. I may as well, you can just basically say I made that hire, even though, yeah, you could basically say I made that hire too, but I didn't want to make that mistake with this one where there is no way around it. I made the hire, right? Like this. And so far, so good, week one. So we'll see how everything else goes, though. And with that said, much love. Be happy. Do good. Love out.